Life is a little bit like marketing, right? You might have something fantastic in front of you, but if it isn't packaged correctly, you're going to overlook it. And I kind of feel like that's been the story for RDR. 2 division champion over at 1 championship. Like, we know the story about if you are a champion in another division that's not titled the UFC, we don't really care, I guess, unless you're Kayla Harrison, I suppose. However, that's the diamond in the rough that's been right in front of us. And in the middleweight division right now, he has an opportunity, if he can get past Brendan Allen, to really do the inevitable and bring real life to the middleweight division right here. But then again, you got a guy like Brendan Allen, kind of the Corey Sandhagen of the middleweight division. You got all the tools. You're right there. You made it nearly to the top. You just can't quite surpass that mountain, if you will. Folks, we got an interesting fight in Canada, UFC Vancouver, if you will, and breaking it down with me, as always, the Santa Fe Bomber, the New Mexico native. AJ, how do you feel that Brendan Allen, the tried and true Louisianan American right there, is repping Canada for this bout right here? He's got a little bit of mixed ethnicity right here, but the man revoked the American citizenship for this one, and he's strongly repping Canada in this really must-win scenario here. What do you think?
Sometimes you need to light a fire under you, and I don't see a better reason than saying, hey, that's my hometown too, right? I mean, whether it's American or Conquers, whoever Brendan Allen's taking after, he's saying Canada's home. I'm with it. I'm rolling with it, brother. I like him getting the people behind him, backing him already.
Sure. I mean, my only take on it is that oftentimes on these Canada cards, you'll see the Canadians, almost do a full clean sweep, win a majority of it. Maybe he's like, I need a little bit of luck right here, because De Ridder, this doesn't matter for him, right? He's like, what, Dutch or something random, he's something over there. But the point is, man, we got a good one on deck right here. Got a couple other good fights too, man. Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott, the Canadian right there, who I think the last couple of fights that he's had, they've all been in Canada, so shout out to that one. But AJ, we're going to break all of this stuff down. One of the fights that's going under the radar, in my opinion, that we're obviously going to break down, but has the highest implications, highest stakes on this entire card. The Beast, Manon Fiorot versus Jasudavicius, right? You got a 5-fight win streak for Jasudavicius. Fiorot just snapped, it was like a 12-fight win streak in that last title opportunity that she had against Shevchenko. So definitely the highest stakes on this card. But UFC Vancouver, let's see if we could recreate the highs of UFC Rio and UFC 320 and all of that good stuff, brother. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it, man. Let's do a little bit of a recap of UFC Rio. Folks, we did not do picks for UFC Rio, but if you take a look at the ticker below, you will see that we have the event recap for the last card that we did, UFC 320. So feel free to take a look there. But AJ, man, the Bronx, or actually I should say the Predator, right? Francis Ngannou #2. Not just kidding. Charles Oliveira, brother, back in the driver's seat, man. He made it look easy against Mateusz Gamrot, and it's actually kind of interesting because this, even though it's a fantastic win for Oliveira, all anyone is talking about right now is how good this makes Ilia Topuria look. He's beating all of these dudes, and then we're like, oh, they're all washed, they're all done, and they're coming back and they're winning their next fights, man, impressively. What'd you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, Derek, that's literally the same thought I had. The counter argument is once Oliveira lost that one, he felt that next level that Ilia is and knew he needed to step his game up. Did he have enough time to evolve his game? I mean, we saw, I don't want to say a brand new Charles out there, but we saw Charles that knew what to do, went to work, and did it very proficiently, man. So I like to give a little bit of grace to Charlie Olives right here. I'm thinking he stepped up to the plate, saw where he needs to get, and really elevated himself. But, I mean, the altar is out there for sure.
I mean, matchups matter, right? I mean, at the end of the day, Gamrot clearly didn't have the firepower to put Oliveira in danger. He said, oh, let's play this game. I'm going to walk through you. We'll jump in the guard, throw up some omoplatas, which in MMA it's not a safe tactic to do, and he made it look easy. Yeah, shout out to Do Bronx. He's back. But the real winner of the night, Deiveson Figueiredo, man. Figgy, OG classic performance, beat a dude who height doesn't matter, reach doesn't matter, bro. Experience matters in this one. Now, Figgy looked good. Split decision against Montel Jackson in a very, very grappling heavy affair. But come on, brother. You're not going to get the split decision nod against the Brazilian in Brazil, Deiveson Figueiredo, former champion. I think really this just muddies up the bantamweight situation a little bit more, but I just thought it was a feel-good win right there. Montel Jackson, did they make him out to be a little scarier than maybe he actually was?
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is you're fighting Figgy. You're fighting the scariest man in in a lot of these divisions. I mean, you take just pound for pound, but no, I think Figgy did what Figgy does, and Montel just didn't have enough snap to actually get in there and disrupt, the control and the dominance that was showed. So good. It was honestly a feel good. I was expecting Figgy to win. I wanted to see it. I'm glad we got it done.
Yeah, fair. And then finally, the one, I mean, a botched matchup right here, man. Joel Alvarez, Vicente Luque. It looks like it's the end of the road for Luque, unfortunately, but that wasn't really the story. It was more of you caught a thumb knuckle to the eye, which is an eye poke, but legally not an eye poke. It is a closed fist, so that's a TKO victory. Alvarez got robbed, and they said that he was collaborating with somebody in Vegas or something, bro, because how that fight went to a decision, it looked like he just gave up the second half of the fight. Who knows? I don't know how you want to call it, but Alvarez did break a very impressive finish streak, but he did get a very dominant decision win. So it was a good win, and it's like, shout out Alvarez, 170, looks great, but the name of Luque, the performance of Luque, and the weirdness of it all, I don't think it really did too much for him. What do you think?
No, I don't think it did too much at all, Derick. I mean, the right guy won the fight, regardless whether the ref was in on the take because he was waving his hands instantly, whether Alvarez was in on the take, whether everybody's in on the take. I do think Alvarez rightfully won that fight, regardless. Interesting to see. I mean, Luke is a dangerous person, so I give Alvarez a lot of credit for enough cushion to say that you don't want to go in there third round dangerous when you already won the last two. So I give him credit right there against a dangerous opponent.
Yeah, fair. Didn't really win over too many fans in Brazil, but a win is a win is a win, as we love to say here on the program. All right, folks, that's your UFC Rio recap. We're going to break down UFC Vancouver in its entirety. Well, really the main card. That's what we love to hit you guys with. But before we do that, of course, we need to jump into a sleeper section here.
It's time for some fight night.
If you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
A very fun one, folks. If you don't know, you're in store for a lot of fun right here. Azamat Bokoyev versus Yusri Belgori, right, in the 185-pound division right here. Bokev, I'm starting over there with the Iron Bokev, has finished his first two UFC opponents inside the first rounds. Slick striking, bombs in his left hand, and down to mix up the fight. Looking to take it to the ground, mix it up on the feet. Doesn't matter. He's down to scrap. Belgori, on the other hand, man, is coming off his Dana White Contender Series knockout and carrying a 3-fight win streak going into this. Excellent striking, long, likes to make the reads, switches up his aggression. Watch for his jabs and his combos at range when Bokoyev's trying to enter that distance. Here's what you need to know, folks. 22 combined finishes between them, and neither fighter has been knocked out in their pro career. Look for Bokoyev to go ahead, get on the inside, try to find a finish either on the ground or maybe in one of those quick exchanges. And, well, like I said, Belgori's looking to stay on the outside, light up the combo, stay at distance, make this precise, look for that sniper shot, put him down. The odds makers right here don't think this one's going to a finish with a fight not to go at minus 220. I'm in agreement with them. I don't think this one's going to finish. You don't want to miss this one, folks. Make sure you tune in.
Yeah, this is going to be fun right here, man. I don't know how much Bokoyev can stay on the outside, dude. You got a 7-inch reach disadvantage. You're 5 inches shorter. You know what I mean? You're going to have to make your way in and make something happen.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
Kyle Nelson, Matt Frevola. All right, listen, when I saw this matchup originally, I was like, okay, interesting, right? Because Kyle Nelson's been a little bit of a underachiever, if you will, right? Like a guy who had a couple of wins where you're like, oh, Kyle Nelson's over here doing the thing, but then you run into a Matt Frevola. And I think that this is really an urgency type matchup, right? If Frevola can inflict his will in his game plan, we know he's an early finisher. We know he's a front runner, but as the fight goes longer, one thing I like about Nelson, he's a smart cookie, if you will, man. I think that he has a good IQ about it, and he could drag something out and pull a win out. I don't think this is an unwinnable fight right here. My question to you, who do you rate higher as a prospect? Because I'm still going to firmly put these guys, even though they're OG veterans, still in the prospect range. I don't think they fully solidified what their trajectory of a career is. Who do you rank higher between these two? I'm curious.
I would rank higher, like who has a higher ceiling as a prospect right now, Derick, would be Kyle Nelson. I as much as I do love the steamroller, I mean, he's very talented, still young, but I mean, in what we've seen in the UFC and the damage we've seen taken, I feel like we've seen a lot more from Frevola. Kyle Nelson has a lot of potential that we have yet to see achieved.
Yeah, I mean, fair. Fair. I'm just going to leave it at that. Let me go ahead and let me bring something up on the screen really quickly so we can kind of get an idea of what the stats are looking like right here. All right, man. So as you can see, I know we're using the word prospect very generously because these guys are in their mid-30s, right? At this point, it's like it's pretty tried and true who you are and what you are. But if you look at in between the two, it's pretty much the same last five, right? 3-1-1 for Nelson, 3-2 for Frevola. That's fair. But when it comes down to the finishing capabilities right here, as of late, let's take a look at this, man. That Bill Algeo knockout for Kyle Nelson has been fantastic. Aside from that, we know this guy is a decision machine for the most part. You got finishes that go on earlier in the career and whatnot. But for Vola, this is why I say, look at it. And you got that knockout loss against ZM that extended, but everything else, man, look at how many round ones we have in a row. That's like, what, 5 fights where the fight ended in the first round. So we know he wants to get on the offensive. He wants to get on the front foot. And I consider him to be like an opportunistic wrestler, but really just a pressure fighter. He wants to stay in your face. Now, AJ, when I'm watching film, the one thing that I will say is a little discouraging watching Matt Frevola, who's a fan favorite, is he's still winging shots, man. Like those arms are winging, you know what I mean? And you do that against a Kyle Nelson right here, I think it's either going to dip out of the way, he's going to try to mix up a wrestling exchange, or he's just going to stay on the outside and just kick away the legs so that Matt Frevola can't hit him. So what is the real path right here? Does it have to be a first-round victory for Frevola? How are you seeing this fight actually play out?
Yeah, that's a great question, Derek, because I feel like the trap Matt Frevola has fallen into is we've seen it a lot. A great wrestler, somebody who has all the intangibles to be able to just take the fight to the ground, yet he's fallen in love with the 1s and 2s and he's looking for knockouts. And sometimes on that road, you end up being the one that gets knocked out. So, yeah, I mean, that's where really the steamroller has gone into that persona, right? And if he wants to kind of break that, and if he wants to find another way to win, just needs to get back to what he was best at, get the wrestling going. And I'm not saying he's abandoned it, because you look at the takedown averages, man. He's almost at almost at 2.4. Right, almost 2.5 takedowns per 15 minutes. This guy's still shooting them, still looking for it, but we have not seen that chain wrestling, that 4 or 5 times going forward and controlling people. He's always looking for the knockout. He's always looking to finish the fight, and that's where sometimes he can get the best of. The position gets switched, and then he's on the receiving end of it. So stay a little bit more composed, stay a little bit more thoughtful in there, but still keep that aggression that has made him great. And I think Steamroller could find that 3rd round finish or that decision win, not putting himself in as much danger as he has been as of late.
I think if he can inflict his will, he can Steve Garcia, Kyle Nelson. That's not out of the realm of possibility, man. I mean, the way that Kyle Nelson got kind of flatlined by Steve Garcia was both impressive and very disappointing at the same time, because he initiated the grappling, right? Had Garcia exactly where he wanted him. Instead of maintaining a control position, throws up an armbar, gets reversed, gets your head caved in, right? Like, you kind of did it to yourself. So if Matt Frevola can do that, easy win. However, that's the thing, is that if Steve Garcia had not been able to put himself in a position where it got reversed and he went for that armbar, I don't know if he would have got up the entire round, right? So Frevola, is he the better wrestler than Nelson? I'm not particularly sure, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen here in the clinch. What's going to happen when they get close range, and once Matt Frevola, if he finds himself in a position where he is not on the front foot, how good is he going to do in that range battle? Because I think Kyle Nelson kicks away those legs all day long. Most people, I think, would probably have Frevola as a sharper prospect right here, but I'm kind of with you. I think Kyle Nelson, I'm gonna rate him a little bit higher in this matchup. And I just think this is if a fight ends early, if Frevola gets his momentum and he just steamrolls, right, he wins. The longer this fight goes, I'm favoring Kyle Nelson right here. So I think most people would probably pick Matt Frevola. And AJ, let's take a look at the minus 120. All right, so let's go ahead and let's give our picks on this one, brother. I'm rocking with Kyle Nelson right here. Just the eye test isn't quite doing it for me for the steamroller in this matchup right here. But you like Frevola, so talk to me about the odds right here. I'm going to pull up the other odds sheet while you're giving me the synopsis here.
Yeah, Derek, I'm rolling with the steamroller, brother. I like Matt Frevola a lot, not because he finds moments and takes advantage of them, how we see Kyle Nelson do, but more so because he is making those moments consistently, Derek. I mean, and especially at a minus 128 favorite, how we've seen him kind of perform, I expected to see Kyle Nelson as the favorite. So I like this money right here. It's still winnable enough. And there's a lot of good numbers on both sides.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I'm looking, if you're a Frevola better, Frevola in round 1 plus 375, in round 2 plus 600, right? So if you're looking for a finish in either one of those rounds, I think that you almost kind of got to take a bet like that for Frevola, because I don't really see him winning by points. And the difference between points right here, what, Frevola by points plus 375 for Nelson. Oh, damn. They give a better odd for Frevola than for Nelson, barely. It's basically even money right here. This kind of makes it really enticing for me, man. Kyle Nelson by points. I kind of really like that one right there. My overall play on this one, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that this is going to be a decision victory for Nelson if he squeaks it out. But I think I'm a little unsure on this one. So I'm not going to call this one a bet. I'm going to call it a play. I like Kyle Nelson purely at the dog odds. I think that it's fair that we just accept the dog odds, if you're with me. Plus 100 for Kyle Nelson. Rock with that one all day. But there is something about that decision that's a little enticing. It's just a matter of almost a matter, AJ, of who implodes first, right?
Yeah. Who literally crushes themselves by the other person's game plan and allows it to happen. Yeah, no, Derick, I'm with you. I'm actually taking the steamroller though, and I like the plus 230 knockout odd he has. It might end early, it might end late, it might end in that first, second round. So if you're confident in one of those, there is a better number out there. But if you're taking steamroller, it's KO all day long, plus 230 right here.
All right. Well, that's the play that we got right there. First contentious pick of the night. And let's go ahead and let's see what we got next right here, man. Cody Gibson, the Renegade versus Aoriqileng, man. So AJ, 38-year-old Cody Gibson, flash in the pan, if you will. Big wins, good wins, and some losses where you're like, oh shit, that did not look great. Aoriqileng is kind of the same situation right here, and I think we kind of know there's one path right here against Aoriqileng. It's like, take him down, don't let him knock you out, bro. Don't let him cave your face in, you know. And Raul Rosas did a great job of that one. He wasn't able to finish him though. So if you got a young, highly touted prospect like Raul Rosas who couldn't finish him, are you going to take the 38-year-old Extreme Couture product, Cody Gibson? Do you think that he can go out there and get a finish?
I don't think so, Derick. That was one thing I said, but I will say, to Cody Gibson's credit, one of the notes I have, man, he has this youthful pressure and gas tank, and the man is 38 years old. He can go out there and get after it. There's no shade on Gibson.
Yeah, I mean, fair. Don't get me wrong right there. But I do think that the stakes on this matchup are going to cause a little bit of urgency for both fighters, at least I hope, right? And that stake, in my opinion, is who wants to keep their job. Nah, straight up. Who wants to keep their job, man? Like, who I think loser goes home matchup right here at the very, very, stretched 135-pound division. So, game plan, right? If you're Cody Gibson, jab, level change, jab, level change, and just do that the entire fight. If you are Aoriqileng, I think you destroy the calves of Cody Gibson. You blast those leg kicks, and you look for the big shot. You look for that counter right, or just force pocket entries right here. Now, based on the film studies that you've watched, how realistic is that for the very inconsistent Aoriqileng?
Very, Derick. I mean, the one asterisk I would add to that, Aoriqileng needs to defend that first takedown. If he might more than likely get taken down, just stop it in the second round. We've seen him stop a lot of takedowns from really good wrestlers. So if you can stop him, I think we're going to see Cody Gibson abandon the takedown game plan a lot sooner than we've seen other people and be forced to strike. So that second round, that's where I really see Aoriqileng taking this fight over, running away with it, and keeping to be able to maintain that distance and forcing Cody Gibson to start being able to make some mistakes. That's really where I see it happening. Although if Cody Gibson dominates it for the first and just holds him down round after round, get another repeat of last time. Again, though, back to your first question, I don't see Cody Gibson being able to do that.
Well, that's my thing, man. I look at Cody Gibson to be a fast starter. My question for you for the Aoriqileng side of things is, do you think that he could hang round 2, round 3? How do you rate his performance in the later rounds?
Again, if taken down, you can really see him start to dwindle, and things and output and everything starts to really relax, and he becomes a lot more cautious. But if he does, man, Aoriqileng, he likes to find a little bit of confidence and let his hands fly. So I do think if he starts taking 1 and 2 downs, then he's going to be confident going into the third or second, and then the third, especially if that trajectory continues. It's all on that takedown, man, because like you said in the beginning, that is the path to beat him. He knows that. Everybody knows that. But I do like his gas tank if he's able to stick to the game plan.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and pull something up real quick here. Let's take a look at some of these numbers. Okay. So first number to take a look at, right, is just oh, there's no odds data found right here. Okay. That's surprising. Let me see. Even on the ESPN. Okay. Minus 180. Oh, minus 180 for Gibson, plus 150 for Aoriqileng. Okay. I'm starting to warm up to this Aoriqileng pick a little bit. You know what I mean? I wasn't expecting to see those odds right here, but when we take a look at these lines, let's see what we can get right here. If you're an Aoriqileng backer right here, what's the path to victory in terms of finish, decision? How does he get the job done? Just stuff takedowns and land more damage?
I think stuff takedowns, land more damage. The problem is what worries me and why I think this is going to be a longer fight is Cody Gibson is going to be able to get him taken down at least that first round. And then he's going to be worried about it. So he's going to be a little more cautious as Aoriqileng goes into this. So if you're an Aoriqileng better, that plus 340 by points looks pretty good, as well as there's an over in this fight as well.
Okay. Let's just take a look at these odds right here. Minus 180 for over 2.5 rounds, plus 150 for under 2.5 rounds. I kind of feel like this is playable on both sides right here. I think that if you're not super I think the Gibson line is a little high realistically, because I think what you're saying is, he probably land a takedown. He's a fast starter. The first 5 to 7 minutes is great for Cody Gibson. I'm concerned about what happens after that, right? So if he can't get the TKO finish and he gasses out mid round 2, early round 3, can we play it for the 2.5 mark right here? I kind of really like that over 2.5 rounds.
I really like that over 2.5 rounds, Derek. I think this is going to be a longer fight. I think that's going to be the best. The question that came up in my head when you were talking about it, can Aoriqileng find a finish in that second round, third round? Do you think he's able to find something there, or is he going to be too worried about the takedown and that's going to deter a finish happening?
What does the gas tank of Cody Gibson look like? So that's all we're really banking on, man. What do gas tanks look like on each end, depending on how the game plan gets inflicted? Again, this is kind of a tough one to scout right here. I rate Cody Gibson higher than I rate Aoriqileng, but he's old and like that factors into things, and it definitely throws a wrench into things. So Gibson's a front runner. He's a great hammer, not a fantastic nail. Aoriqileng, we know what his game is. So when it comes down to the picks right here, I'm rocking Cody Gibson. AJ, your Aoriqileng pick right here. Give us a confidence level for the underdog, because this is good underdog money, man. Plus 140.
Good underdog money right here. Confidence levels on a 7. I was about to say an 8, but again, those takedowns worry me a little bit. So I'm about a 7 to Aoriqileng. Still like it though, and I do think this is one of those fights there's a lot of money on the table either way of what you're betting.
Okay, fair. Well, that's your pick right there, folks. Let's keep it moving on this UFC Vancouver card. All right, I had mentioned earlier the fight with the most stakes on the entire card is one of the fights that nobody would believe, right? So it's a women's flyweight matchup. Who cares for the most part, right? Well, we care because the reality of this situation is, man, Manon Fiorot was a broken nose away from being the new champion and shaking up this division. And who knows if Zhang Weili even would have decided she wants to move up and have this super fight for the championship. So like everything, we just entered a new timeline with Shevchenko retaining the belt, right? Enter Jasudavicius, who, in a weird twist of fate, man, loses a fight to Tracy Cortez. So you've lost to really Natalia Silva, who everyone is really saying that's the number one contender. That's the person who should be fighting next. Weili shouldn't have even got this shot. They should have just gave it to Silva and see what happens. So you lost to her. You lose to Tracy Cortez, who's been incredibly inactive over the last X amount of years. Rattle off 5 in a row, and next thing you know here, rankings don't matter. Jasudavicius, you're in a de facto number one contender fight right here. So we'll talk about number one contenders a little bit later. The reason that I bring this up is because she has an opportunity to do something fantastic. I just think that you put together 5 impressive victories with how many finishes? 3 finishes and 5 wins, and this is what you're rewarded with. Stylistically, your toughest matchup to date right here. You get the beast, Manon Fiorot, who, again, I'm convinced would have won that fight if it was not for her nose getting shattered literally in the opening minutes of this fight. So, AJ, I'm going to let you take the floor. Talk to us about what you like about the matchup. Who do you rate higher? All that good stuff.
Yeah, Derek, I mean, it's hard to answer the last question. It's hard to rate anybody higher than Manon Fiorot because I'm with you. One simple move left or right, and Manon Fiorot could be holding the belt. So the thing is, Derek, the Jasudavicius on paper has all the intangibles to be able to take over or surmount what Manon Fiorot has accomplished, right? She's never been finished. If Manon Fiorot does make those simple mistakes again, we could see Jasudavicius really get on the inside, start to put some work together, possibly get a finish or at least get a controlled decision like we saw last time that Manon Fiorot fought. I like this one a lot. You were talking earlier about this shaking up the trajectory of the divisions and how things are really going. This is one of those fights that is a prove it time to get things going for Jasudavicius. If she does not step up to this one, she is relegated to where we've seen a lot of other really good fighters in other divisions just sitting there in the 3rd to the 5th spot, hoping something's going to come along, hoping somebody doesn't show up for a fight or misses weight or whatever the case is, and you get your chance. Now this is her chance to actually hold that opportunity in her hands and move forward with it. This is a really good fight for her and a winnable fight for the Jasudavicius corner, no matter how beast Manon Fiorot is.
As winnable as it is, because I do agree with you. I think when you look at the odds, plus 190, almost a plus 200 dog right here against Fiorot, I think that there's a path. There's a path for Jasudavicius. But again, stylistically, this is really tough because I think it's going to be very similar to the Tracy Cortez fight, where if you can't get the takedown, which is where you're ragdolling everybody, man. Like we know it. If Jasudavicius gets the takedown and she can control you for an extended amount of period, she's going to lay real damage on you, or she's going to submit you, right? Or just ride it out for the fight. But like you're losing that fight pretty much. But can you get the takedown? Tracy Cortez, wrestler, good takedown defense. Fiorot, big. That's really it, man. That's the other thing for Jasudavicius. She always has this size advantage against the other girls. You don't have that against Fiorot. Now, AJ, if Shevchenko can take Fiorot down, does that concern you? Given that, I mean, that's Fiorot. If you could defend the takedown, I feel like you can cruise to a victory, potentially get a finish right here. But if you get taken down, does she get back up?
If Fiorot gets taken down, does she get back up on Jasudavicius? I don't know, Derek. I'm inclined to say she's not, because normally I was going to say the same thing on the other side, right? Fiorot's the one who's used to having that size advantage. She's the one who's used to be able to control range. Guess what? Jasudavicius has a 3-inch reach advantage on her, and when Jasudavicius does get her hands on people, that is when she's ragdolling them. So I do think a lot goes into that, and I don't expect Fiorot to be able to get up if Jasudavicius does get her hands on her. The question is, can she? I think Fiorot is a little bit better and a little bit faster on the feet to not allow Jasudavicius to get on the inside.
I agree, but we have to look at it, brother. Plus 900 for a Jasudavicius submission victory right here. You have to look at it, right? Like you got to at least entertain it, because I think that it's going to be difficult to win a decision against Fiorot unless you somehow, some way, you literally just ragdoll her for 3 straight rounds, which I don't particularly see. I think that karate blitz style of Fiorot is going to be really advantageous until it's not, because Shevchenko, what was the thing with the kicks, right? If you take away the kicks, Fiorot all of a sudden kind of becomes really hindered. If Jasudavicius can catch the kicks, start taking her down, be like, oh, that's what you want to do, we could have a repeat right here. So again, there's no way Fiorot is this good and then falters from a Shevchenko to a Jasudavicius, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I think the level of competition is a little bit different. It's just matchups make fights right here. And I believe in Manon Fiorot, but I also think that Jasudavicius is always a live dog in these striker versus grappler matchups if she doesn't get chinned, because she does not move her head whatsoever and she is there to get hit.
Yeah, and she's there to catch kicks. And the bad part about catching kicks with a steel head is it is a very, very big target with no defenses up at all. So I do like it. I like I like Manon Fiorot in this fight a lot. I think she has everything stacked towards her. But if you are a Jasudavicius better, that plus 900 submission, that is the way to get going, because Jasudavicius is very, very good at finding random takedowns, like we were saying before, catching kicks, getting a trip, going that route, and very, very, very slick on the ground, where I don't think Fiorot is going to be able to deal with the aggressiveness that we have seen out of Jasudavicius.
Plus 186 for Jasudavicius, minus 225 for Manon Fiorot. If we look at the totals right here, I mean, you're not going to get a lot of juice on here unless you're betting the under, meaning that you're probably betting for, well, I don't know, because I think Fiorot could definitely get a finish right here, but I'm not going to lay all that out. I don't see a lot of value in this matchup in particular, just from like these pure betting lines or even the totals necessarily. I think that if the over 2.5 were to creep down somehow magically, then that's the play. But aside from that, I'm staying away from this matchup, because this feels like a trap card game, or a trap game, excuse me, for Fiorot. But then again, she could just steamwalk her and it could be that. My pick or I should say the consensus pick, is the beast, Manon Fiorot, right there. Confidence level, AJ, what do you give it?
Confidence level 9, Derek. I do feel there's a trap that possibly could be afoot. I was even going to say I'm not even laying this one in a parlay. I'm just watching this one out of the fun and out of the shakeup for the division. There's a lot of uncertainties here, but I think Manon Fiorot gets it done.
All right, fair play. All right, man. The next matchup that we have right here is, this is probably one of the hardest ones that I had to break down, and it's only in the sense of you have a guy that's like really good and really skillful, but doesn't seem to put it together on fight night versus a guy who just keeps winning. And you're like, dog, how does this keep happening? And folks, if you had to play the guessing game, like, who are these guys talking about? Chito Vera, man. I'm in Zahabi right here. Zahabi wasn't supposed to beat Jose Aldo. Are you kidding me? I mean, the markets predicted it, right? Beating Pedro Munoz, beating Javid Basharat, Aoriqileng, your boy, he stiffed him. That was actually really surprising because he knocked him out immediately. He wasn't supposed to beat all of these guys, right? And Chito Vera, after the Frankie Edgar fight, so the 3-fight stretch, Frankie Edgar, Rob, Dominic Cruz, Cheeto he's going to be the champ. He's going to do it. He's going to beat up O'Malley. The first fight was a fluke, and what happens, right? You lose to Corey Sandhagen. You get a ticky-tack win over Munoz, and then the last two fights, man, have been super frustrating. AJ, voice to me your concern as just a fan of the fight game, but a fan of Marlon Vera. Watching the last 2 fights, what's going on in your mind? Because I have a couple of thoughts, but I'm gonna let you go first.
I think my biggest thought is where's the violence we've seen that Chito Vera always brings to the cage? Because I feel like that is his style of fight, is violence first. We've seen him be a lot more calculated and measurable and less willing to just be that ruthless abandonment that we have seen before out of Chito Vera. And then the leg kicks have also kind of had to have less of an impact on where he's able to really deliver a lot of the intrigue that we've seen him produce, right? That was one of the big things we were expecting Chito Vera to come in there. You kick against a kicker. Chito Vera has proved that he can do that against a lot of people, but now it's harder to have that less of effect of going into things. And I do feel as though Chito Vera has really become underrated as a fighter in a lot of people's eyes, especially because of the last 2 losses where you don't look like a scary person anymore. You don't look like the guy who's just going to come in and ragdoll everybody, walk through people left and right, or use your jiu-jitsu going forward. You're looking to stand and trade, but you're not that intimidating of a person anymore with how people have shown to be able to deal with you. And I do think it leaves Chito Vera a little bit more to be desired if you're a Vera fan going into this next fight.
The part that's off-putting, if you will, about what Chito Vera has been doing as of late, at least in my opinion, is that like the buildup is it's violence. It's I'm gonna do these things against Dominic Cruz. It's a great day to die. He got the finish right there, right? Backed it up, that type, right? But you're getting all of this. I'm going to do these things to you. I look at me. I'm training like a monster. And then you go out there and you're like, bro, you got to throw. And you're just not really throwing necessarily. Like, that's the issue that we're finding. So my synopsis when I watched Chito Vera, if I had to break down like an archetype of him, I would say he's a pressure counter striker, which is almost like a paradox, if you will, right? Because I'm going to get in your face, but I'm not going to throw. I'm going to wait until you throw, and then I'm going to counter your shot, and I'm going to throw, right? Awesome. But when your mentality is, I'm going to pressure, counter strike, what happens when the other person is using the initiative, body jab, big shot over the top, whatever, you go to counter, you miss, and they counter you. So now you're worried about countering because your counter is getting countered, and now you're not throwing anything. And when I watch him, I can almost see the cogs just ticking or grind, whatever, I could see it in motion. And it's a frustrating experience because, when he strikes, he has snap, leg kicks, big shots. Guess what? He's not throwing more than 1 shot at a time. So when you're throwing 1 shot, you're not hurting people. Where's Ayman Zahabi? Where did he get hurt against Jose Aldo? When Aldo's throwing 2, 3, 4 in a row, right? Ayman Zahabi, on the other hand, when he strikes, does it look impressive to you, AJ, when you watch it on film? Like, do you see, he's a super sharp boxer. Do you feel that?
No, he's technical, he's proficient, but I wouldn't say he's sharp and has the exorbitant snap either.
Exactly. But what does he do? He doubles his jab up, right? He mixes it up, a level change, and then gives you a 3-shot combination and then skates off, right? Like, he gives you, he's constantly giving you those looks, right? So that's the frustrating part, is on paper, Marlon Vera, 4 stars. Let's go. You know what I mean? You got all the intangibles, ground game, offensive, all that stuff. Defensively, you're pretty sharp, even though you're really durable and you get hit a lot, but that's fine. I'm in Zahabi. I would say like 3 stars, right? If we're just keeping it simple, going out of 5, I'll give you a solid 3 stars right here. You're technical and all that stuff, but it doesn't look pretty. I think you're faster. I don't think you have more power. I think you lack power and you lack the durability that Cheeto has. So Cheeto's path to victory is, unfortunately, the tried and true path, man. Hope you get a knockout. And if you don't, you're probably going to get outpointed and be mad after. So that's my assessment of this entire fight. And that's why I think it's difficult. But if we have to take a look at the line, it's interesting. -131 for Zahabi, +111 for Cheeto Vera, which realistically in any other scenario, I think Vera should be a favorite in this matchup. But because he refuses to throw his hand, I think that's why he's not. What do you think?
Yeah, Derek. No, I mean, I agree with the whole sentiment you're talking about. One thing I like and find as a problem for Cheeto Vera, he gets controlled by violence. Like when he's on his best, he is out there throwing, hurting people. Like you said, counter strike in the counter strike. You're wanting to make a guy miss. Go in there, you hit him. See the next one coming, you dodge it, you hit him again. That's Cheeto Vera when he's doing his best, right? Throwing leg kicks in there. The problem is he really has leaned towards the second part of that is he gets controlled by violence and then he starts to keep it with composure because you know that violence is always behind there, right? It's always there willing to be thrown, but he's not doing it now. So you're like, oh, okay, he's giving me a little bit of a break, right? Controlling that with composure while Cheeto's playing that game of being like, I can see where things are going. I'm trying to play the counter-striker game. You know you don't want to get hit. I know you don't want me to hit you. So we're able to play that. Now that he doesn't have that anymore, what Zahabi needs, or I guess, well, now that allure is starting to get a little rust on it, Zahabi, man, if he's able to go and did what he did, Jose Aldo, throw up the guard, kind of work some moves, let Cheeto Vera know he's there to be hit, but then when he throws, he misses. Zahabi can have it done their day right here. Maybe I could see him putting together the 1s and 2s enough to be able to draw out that violence in Cheeto where he says, I need to get one back. So I do think we could have a very violent fight right here. It's going to be all on precedence of if Zahabi has the same fight as he has last time, because that's about the victory for him as well.
Yeah, I'm with you right there. And I mean, I don't know, man. If he could do what he did against Aldo, meaning that be on the back foot, get pressured, find your reads, and then switch to the pressure to now you're putting Vera on the back foot, I think that this could be an easy dub. But I also think that this has all the makings of a split decision and a hometown winner getting their arm raised in Ayman Zahabi right here. So there's a lot of plays that you could take right here. One of the juicier plays that you could take is not the totals, because look at that's how you know that they know staring contest right here. Dude, this is almost the same odds as Jasudavicius for Fiorot, right? And I think that in women's MMA, they're automatically just going to raise that over 2.5 to super high, right? So I think that there is a little bit of juice potentially on the under, depending on how this fight plays out. But I think Ayman Zahabi, I think that has to be just the consensus pick right here. And if I'm not mistaken, that, sir, is the consensus pick, right? So we're just going to leave it at that one right here. Like I said, Marlon Vera on paper, Ayman Zahabi for your pocketbook right there. I think that's the assessment, right?
Absolutely.
All right, cool, man. All right, let's go back and keep the show on the road right here, brother. We have now crept up to a co-main event that is a little surprising in my mind right here because from the trajectory that he's been on and even just the carelessness and the fun approach that he's taking to his career, you still somehow wind up in somewhat of a lucrative matchup right here. I'm talking about Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott, the proper one, Mike Malott. So let me pull this up real quick, AJ. Look at look at this, man. You got a dude who is looking at a pretty record, completely self-imploded against Neil Magny, but you've found your way back versus, I mean, listen, up and down, middleweight, welterweight, everywhere in between, wins against guys that you should win, losses to guys that you shouldn't have lost to, but a couple of them have aged well. Jack Della Maddalena, he's the champ. That aged pretty good, right? In a fight where, because when I watched it, I was there. I was live at that fight. And I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to sound very silly. I thought Kevin Holland won the fight in real time. In real time, you can't see. I don't got the angles. I'm sitting super far away. I was like, oh, Kevin Holland won the fight. JDM masterclassed him, apparently, right? If you go back and you really watch it. So it's like, all right, you have potential. MVP, we know that. Delidze, de Ridder, you give them grapplers problems. And then Daniel Rodriguez, that one was inexplicable. He said it himself. He's like, dog, I should not have lost that fight. He was like a minus 600 favorite going into that fight. So it is what it is. But Mike Malott, it's interesting because I'm going to use Kevin Holland's word. He says he's about 2 steps behind the guys that I normally lose to. And I would love if you could try to break that down, AJ. What do you think he meant by that?
Yeah, absolutely, Derick. I think what one of the things that goes into that is Kevin Holland has fought top tier opponents from 5 years ago in the UFC. A lot of those people are champs, are people that are contenders right here. I agree with him. There's levels to this game, and it seems like Mike Malott might just be those 2 levels below the people that are at that top upper echelon who Kevin Holland is losing to. I completely agree with that statement.
All right, now let's be real though, right? And when I say that, I don't mean that in any type of like weird way. I mean it in the sense of we know Kevin Holland is going to show up and we know exactly what the game plan is. Be long, try to land a really long right hand, couple of calf kicks, couple of karate style kicks or whatever the case may be, and try not to get taken down, right? Like we know that that's the game plan. And I would say normally against a guy like Mike Malott, who seems to be what's the baseball phrase? A 5-tool athlete or whatever the case may be. I don't even know what that means, but I know the sentiment of just like, this guy's really good kind of everywhere, right? I believe the same thing for Mike Malott. However, the eye test for Mike Malott he didn't pass it. He didn't pass it when I was watching film right here. Because normally I would say if you're technical and if you're sharp, you're probably going to beat Kevin Holland just because he puts himself out of position so much with the big lunging shots, right? If he doesn't land the right hand, if the bomb doesn't go off, that went off multiple times 5 years ago, right? Cruise into a decision loss generally. But Mike Malott, man, he's a straight line offensive practitioner. And what I mean by that is everything is on a straight path. No angles are being cut. There's hardly any head movement. It's just line it up, and I'm going to try to land mine before I land yours. To me, that's a recipe for disaster. But I'm curious if you think he's going to mix it up and try to wrestle, just grapple up Kevin Holland and not give him that opportunity.
No, Derick, I don't think Mike Malott has that ability, or at least we haven't seen that ability with him either, because he did not pass the eye test for me as well. I think the only way Mike Malott's going to be able to go in there with Kevin Holland is be able to strike first, right? Because Kevin Holland, where they're going to go in, they're going to exchange at range. If Mike Malott's able to hit Kevin Holland at distance, and then just overwhelm him with that forward going pressure, and Kevin Holland isn't able to recover, right? He has to go back to the cage, try to mix it up, try to do some stuff like that. And Mike Malott is able to just overwhelm Kevin Holland going forward. I think that's going to be his best chance to win. Unless it's just you're feeling better than Kevin Holland, you are getting the best out of him 10 out of 10 times, and you can win a point fight, which I don't think is going to happen. I think Mike Malott's best chance right here is to overwhelm with pressure, because other than that, I actually think Kevin Holland, his ground game, is going to be able to stuff what Mike Malott can do out there. At least we'll see in real time, but at least that's what I got from the tape watch.
And dog, I believe in Kevin Holland's jiu-jitsu off of his back, right? But if you don't get the sub, you're losing the fight. So like, can Mike Malott just ride it out with just control time, just a top half guard smash? Just probably, right? Like, I don't know. All I'm going to say is in this matchup, Kevin Holland, take everything I say with a grain of salt, folks, because Kevin Holland is the hardest guy for me to read. In my time watching and predicting fights, Kevin Holland goes up there with the guys that I'm consistently wrong about because he's so unpredictable. You know what I mean? He was like Khalil Rountree of the early days, where it's like, what version am I going to get this time around? You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. So speaking of that, I missed on the Khalil Rountree pick 2 weeks ago. Again, here we go again. You know what I mean? But anyways, that's a story for another time. I think Mike Malott has the poise and the prestige, and that's why he's a minus 120 favorite right here. But I think that Kevin Holland at plus money is very, very lucrative. And cardio too. We know Kevin Holland isn't going to be gassed out round 3. Mike Malott, we cannot say the same necessarily, especially because Mike Malott, AJ, let's not forget, he did take the approach to bounce back. He was like, how am I going to win? Not the Charles Radke fight, but before that, how am I going to win? I'm just going to wrestle and decision and be boring. So we know Kevin Holland, he's like, if you're going to play this game, whatever, I'm just going to kind of quit on myself mid-fight. That's up there. I would stay away from this one, but if you're a degenerate and you're like, I need to throw some money on it, plus 100, Kevin Holland, and maybe another potential play that we'll talk about in a second. You know what I mean? I think that's up for grabs.
Yeah, I think it's up for grabs. This one, like Derick said, this one's for the degenerates. I think Kevin Holland has a real good shot right here. Obviously, Mike Malott can get things done. We'll see how it actually goes, but you can see right there, consensus pick, Kevin Holland. That's
it. All right, man. And that leads us to our main event right here. So let me set the table one more time, man. You had the diamond in the rough that was sitting right in front of you the whole time. You just never noticed it, right? Because you're looking at Khamzat Chimaev, you're looking at Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya, you're looking at all of the guys, the pretty names and faces and star-studded guys, and here's this random, forgive me, where's this guy from? I think he's from the Netherlands, De Ridder, right? He's one championship. Okay, whatever. That's fine. You know what I mean? You come through, you're just another player in there. Oh, yeah. Well, the original guy who was the eye candy, Dricus Duplessis, right? Let's not forget about him. All right. Well, we got DDP number 2 right here, 2.0 in Reinier de Ridder, where the package just doesn't look good, man. Like, you look unorthodox when you're throwing your shots. You know, you look at a picture of my man. It looked like he got the red lipstick on. Paulo Costa over here roasting him, saying he looks silly and all that stuff. And when he strikes, it looks goofy and you look tired, but you're hurting dudes. You're breaking them. You're doing it in impressive fashion, brother. Robert Whittaker, super impressive, even though he almost got the finish against RDR. He bounced back, got the dub. Bo Nickel halted the height train. Kevin Holland, easiest first round submission. GM3 submitting him. Impressive stuff right there. But that was the fight originally, AJ, that I watched where I was like, oh yeah, RDR is he might not be UFC level. Going third round in a real back and forth boxing affair with Gerald Mearstart at 40 years old or whatever the case may be. All right, enter Brendan Allen. AJ, did you agree earlier when I had noted that Brendan Allen he's kind of the sorry, Corey, I'm not trying to make you the example, but the Corey Sandhagen, you're getting right there. You got the tools. We all know you're super good, but you're just not like passing the test to finally get to the spot right here. He hasn't gotten his title opportunity yet, right? But if he did, would we be confident to back him in a victory? That's the question. Well, you have to get past this one first. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I did agree with you when you were talking about he very much has the potential to be the Sandhagen of the middleweight division. But this is the opportunity to put that to absolute kibosh because now with Reinier de Ridder, we've seen him go from being who is he, nobody knows, to being like, man, this dude can just stop people left and right. He is a real deal, no matter if he does look goofy, because I agree with that as well. But Brendan Allen can be the guy where he said, hey guys, I was the shiny toy. I got put away, I got put back in the toy chest, but I am here to let you guys know I'm the real deal. Brendan Allen could take over right now, but he has a pretty mountain of a man to go against in Reinier de Ridder going forward right here. Brendan Allen, does he have enough to do it? Does he have the shine? Does he have the pop? I think he has the speed, and I think he has a lot of the textbook things to be able to deal with that sloppy style that Reinier de Ridder possesses. I just don't know if he has the size, the power, or the durability to be able to change moments and turn the tide in fights like we're going to need to do against de Ridder.
I don't know if Brendan Allen has the cardio to win this fight. That's really how I'm looking at this one, man. I think this fight's all about scrambles. It's about back takes. It's about clinch. Who's trapping who against the fence? Is Brendan Allen getting caught with those intercepting knees that de Ridder just keeps throwing more and more? I also think that de Ridder has a real opportunity, and don't laugh at me now because if it comes to fruition, I'm going to look like a genius. I think that he could knock out Brendan Allen on the feet.
That's I don't know, Derek. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to laugh at you if that does come to fruition because there is a chance. I just think Brendan Allen's a little bit faster, or I guess I should say a lot faster than Reinier de Ridder, and has a little bit sharper tools in the defense to see those slow shots coming. Because Reinier de Ridder, the one thing I said, or I thought of when you were talking about it before, he does look slow when he punches, but he's one of those guys where he looks kind of lackadaisical, but he hits with power. He stings you when he's doing those things. He has that natural power to him. He just doesn't have that natural athletic ability like Brendan Allen does. So I'm going to give a little credit to Allen right here. I think he's fast enough to be able to avoid just getting stung with a 1-2.
And like I said, I know it sounds silly, but my reasoning is think DDP versus Adesanya. We're like, dude, there's no way Adesanya doesn't clean this fool up on the feet, right? DDP with the awkward, unorthodox style. You land, you're slow. Yeah, we know it, but you're landing. You know what I mean? So I think that he could hit him in the breadbasket, take the wind away, take away the scrambles. But really, I'm talking about on the feet, pure hands. Brendan Allen does not move his head. not a touch. It's there on the center line all day long. And he's willing. The thing that you got to love about Brendan Allen is that he is a dog. So he will engage in a firefight when it is not the most opportune thing to do here. So I think de Ridder is 100% in the driver's seat on this one. I do not think that this is a hype pick or a hype line at minus 205 for de Ridder. And let me see. Let's go up to the top where we got our plays for this one. All right, man. Brendan Allen by KO 650, by submission 650. We'll leave it at that. 300 plus 300 for KO for de Ridder, plus 200 for a submission right here. So they think if someone's going to finish someone, de Ridder definitely has a higher chance of doing it. If this somehow, some way goes 5 rounds, which, I mean, let's not forget that Brendan Allen just went life or death with Marvin Vettori in a 3-round decision. So I have a hard time thinking that it makes it to all 5. But let's see. Plus 700 for decision for Brendan Allen, and for, where's the decision? Plus 330 for de Ridder, man. Yeah, I think de Ridder is just fully in the driver's seat right here. Again, love me some Brendan Allen. I love what he stands for and then the dog and all that. I just think that he's going to be outgunned in this one, purely from the awkwardness and the weirdness of de Ridder plus a gas tank. I think that's what it takes to win this fight.
Yeah, no, I think de Ridder's in the driver's seat right here, Derek. The big question that comes to my mind is how's the best way to make money right here? If you're confident on a prop, you think a knockout's coming, I think that could be there for de Ridder, more than likely the submission. But with both of them going forward, I do think the over and unders might be the best way to play this. I personally, Derek, like the over. It's at 2.5 of a 5-round fight. I mean, with these two gentlemen, 2.5 is no problem. And it's a minus 124, so still good money on it. I like that one the most, Derek. Do you think there's the best way right here to be making some money?
Oh, man. You know, I think playing the – sorry, where'd it go? Here it is. Yeah, it's tough on the total for 3.5 right here. This has really been a stay away for me. A lot of this card has been passes for me, man. Like, I'm not seeing a lot of value in terms of like, oh, this is the one. There's a couple of ones where I'm like, this is a pretty sure lock. But for this one, I can't see it going very long. 3.5 is even asking for kind of a lot right here. So I would say if you're betting on de Ridder, just stick with the minus 215 right there. I think that it's not too crazy. If this gets up to minus 250, stay away entirely from this one, right? But if this can edge around, if like Brendan Allen can get a little bit of juice and maybe we get it down to minus 200, I'm with that one all day. I just think that the money line play is going to make the most sense right here. If you're not just going to say, all right, we're going to rock with submission on either one of these guys, because de Ridder submission plus 200, not as juicy as I want, but I like the play. You know what I mean? That's what I got on this one. You got anything else on this one?
Nah, brother, I like it. Submission. Like I said, I if you can find a 2.5 over, I like that one. 3.5, it makes me a little curious as well.
Yeah, fight not to go the distance, minus 280 right there. So, yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? All right, man. So your consensus pick right here is Reinier de Ridder. And my last piece right here, AJ, before we hop off of this and move on to the section of the program, is this win for Reinier de Ridder sets up what? What does a win of Brendan Allen really do for him? Because I think he's already proved it, man. You beat Whitaker. How does beating Brendan Allen age better than beating Robert Whitaker, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it sets him up for the number 1 contender spot. But, I mean, who knows how much that actually carries weight. But it is, again, what have you done for me lately? It's just another check mark for de Ridder to be able to say, hey, I've been doing X, Y, and Z for you. Give me a shot soon enough. So it does get him a little bit closer, but I don't think it's massive leaps.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, man. Well, that is your main card breakdown for UFC Vancouver. Let's see what's cracking in Canada, man. It should be a fun card right here. But again, we've given you a lot of thoughts on these fights. Now, let's give you some best bets. We got 2 of them officially here for you. And AJ, I'm going to have you go ahead and kick yours off, brother. Go ahead and take the lead. What you think?
Folks, we're going with some plus money right here, and we talked about it just previously. Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott, over 2.5 rounds at plus 140. Like I said, we talked about it ad nauseum, so I'm not going to go too in-depth with it. But the only way I see this one bet getting spoiled right here is if Mike Malott overextends and Holland capitalizes, and then we're talking about just a quick KO from Kevin Holland's side. Like I said, I don't think Mike Malott is going to be able to catch him, but we'll see. This should be a very technical kickboxing match right here. And with Holland facing the upper echelon, I agree with the statement he said before. Mike Malott is 2 levels down. This is a huge puzzle for Mike Malott to solve that we saw him falter in his only UFC loss before. I think it's going to be a repeat. Odds makers see it finish right here. But if it does happen, I see it happening late in the fight. So I look like that over 2.5 plus money bet all day long. If you like it, folks, make sure you cash. Let us know if you did in the comments.
That's right. You got a good one right there. And I followed suit where I talked about a main card best bet for mine as well. So if you're only tuning into the main card, you're in luck because you're going to have a lot of juice to be able to play with right here. All right, man. I'm going to rock with the Chito Vera versus Ayman Zahabi fight, but the play is very simply going to be Ayman Zahabi to win via decision. Now, really quickly, I have to make an amendment, AJ, on this because while I was taking a look at some of these lines, I noticed something that I thought was really, really interesting. And that's going to be, let me bring it up on the screen real quick. I have minus 105. That's what I've been tracking. And I even thought that that was your best bet at minus 105 for Ayman Zahabi decision. But as you can see right here, folks, plus 105 for the Ayman Zahabi decision right here. We are smashing this all day long. So my best bet has been amended, not at minus 105 for decision, plus money for Ayman Zahabi, who's already a favorite, which doesn't particularly, like, wait, is he a favorite? Now I'm over here confused. Let me see. Ayman Zahabi versus Vera. Yeah, so minus 135 favorite, and you have plus money to win via decision. Here's my data to back this, right? Zahabi has a very clear path to decision victories, especially against Chito Vera right here. Vera, a 2-fight losing streak. You dropped 2 decisions right here. Never been finished. All 10 losses are via decision. Come on, brother. What are we asking for right here? Fight to go to decision is minus 300 right here. Ayman Zahabi is a smash spot through and through. So that's my assessment right there. That is my best bet. And listen, man, you got 2 good ones to play with. So tail whoever you want to tail, but I think we're on fire for you right there. All right, man. AJ, we got best bets. We've talked about some good fights right here. Story of the week is not particularly a story, if you will, but it's just the state of the UFC that we just need to bring up really quickly right here. So story time, brother. I don't got no big graphic or anything to bring up for you, but I'm going to propose something for you, and you're going to tell me whether you agree or disagree. So let me propose it. Let me give you a couple of examples, and then I want you to take the floor. All right. So my proposition, which isn't really a proposition, but my thesis here, number 1 contender fights in the UFC don't particularly exist anymore. And my evidence here, right, the discovery that we're doing right here, put my lawyer hat on, right? Sean Brady, he just booked a fight against Michael Morales, right? And you might be thinking, wait, but Sean Brady, didn't he just beat Leon Edwards? Wait, didn't he just beat Leon Edwards in London? Didn't he actually submit Leon Edwards in London? The former welterweight champion, the former headshot dead. I beat the GOAT. I beat Kamaru Usman. Shouldn't this automatically get you like a title shot right here, even though we already know that Islam Makhachev and JDM is throwing everything in whatever, right? But shouldn't you already be slated to be like, yeah, you're pretty much the next guy, right?
Yeah, it should.
Right? Okay. All right. Fair. All right. Now you have a Steve Erceg, for an example, who got his flyweight shot after 3-0 against Alexandre Pantoja. Did he have to do a number 1 contenders fight, or was he just kind of like down there somewhere in the rankings and he got the call, right?
Correct.
Yes, another one. Okay. You get Vina Jandiroba, Mackenzie Dern. Neither of them necessarily number 1 contenders. Jandiroba has a better opportunity, but this is a vacant title. Did either one of these fight a number 1 contenders fight? I'll answer for you. No, absolutely they did not. Colby Covington back in the day, UFC 296, bunch of inactivity, gets a title shot. No number 1 contenders fight. Tom Aspinall gets his first title defense against Cyril Gane. What has Cyril Gane done aside from lose a fight to Alexander Volkov? Well, he won it, but the people know that he lost it. I got lucky because I picked Gane on that one. And he gets a title shot. Number 1 contender bout anywhere in sight, people? No, absolutely not. So my proposition here, my thesis, is that the UFC at this point is truly, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, but this is a short notice / what have you done for me lately / how popular are you metric into do you get an opportunity to fight for the title. So the big overarching question right here, and then you give me your feedback, is what does the future of UFC meritocracy look like? What does the future of title shots look like? If there's no meritocracy, if rankings literally do not matter, what is the entire purpose? Is this playing into them removing the pay-per-view model? Because if you don't have ranked fighters, you don't need pay-per-views. All fighters are on the same level, more or less. This is WWE at this point. We know that they're in hand with TKO and the WWE group. That is my long-winded thesis on this one, brother. What do you think?
That's an interesting point, Derek, because you said one caveat in there that got me thinking. We said it all before, right? This is a sort of what have you done for me lately? How active are you? Are you a company man going to scratch the company's back, fight whenever? We're used to all those. But you said, how popular are you? Right. That's one I feel like has just recently come into the metrics of what we're looking for as a fighter. Who brings that star value? Who's that UFC cash cow? Who's that person that's going to be putting asses in seats like Uncle Dana wants? That I think is going to be the metric going forward from now on out. And that right there, that how popular are you plays into the what have you done for me lately? The how active are you? Right. All of those in combination, and no matter how exciting of a fighter you are, you're getting knockouts, right? You're not putting people to sleep by just laying there and humping them. All of that is going to be the next star of the UFC and how popular they are. And I do think it might lead a little bit more towards that dynamic you're talking about of the pro wrestlers of, well, the popular people fight, like the stars of the UFC, they're fighting 5-6 times a year, getting shows, getting money, right? All those things are going on. But if you're not willing to fight that many times a year, if you're not exciting enough to be put there, I don't know if the ranking system is going to be able to carry enough merit to be able to drive you towards your goals for the future. It really is going to be a sport of excitement, of showtime, of making these moments that are fleeting. If you're able to catch those moments and capitalize on them, you will be the star of the future. The only problem is you're going to need to repeat that 2 months down the road, 3 months down the road. Basically, whenever you're medically cleared to fight again, you're going to need to be fighting again. And that is going to be the future of the UFC. And it's going to be interesting to see the talent that comes out of that kind of pool.
You said something really interesting just now, and I don't know if you know how profound what it is that you just said was, but you said it's about moments, right? And I really do agree that that's your entire purpose. It's not go out there and win, right? It's not go out there and, of course, lose. It's go out there and create a moment that fans will remember. There's a reason that Kevin Holland can literally be like, I do not care about championships. Stop asking me. I'm here to get a bag. I'm here to have fun. But he's trash talking in the cage. He's having these big moments that people are remembering from these fights. And they're saying, give me more Kevin Holland. And now he's awarded a co-main after doing what, right? All of these other fighters, Mackenzie Dern, I think that they're trying to play up a storyline right here for Mackenzie Dern, where they say, all right, hopefully you can become the champion. We got Bia Mosqueda, the BJJ women lady goat, who just made her UFC debut. If we can, for the Alex Paeta run and get a Mackenzie Dern versus Bia Mosqueda, this is Izzy Pereira in the women's flyweight or in women's strawweight division, excuse me. If we can get that, right, now we're talking, right? I think that there's these storylines at play, and this just makes me think, man, I'm curious because 10 years ago, I think it's fair to say 10 years ago, the UFC of today is kind of unrecognizable, but COVID created a major shift that nobody could have predicted. So that's fair. The question is 5 years from now, especially for next year, starting the Paramount deal, what does the UFC look like without pay-per-views? What does it look like when the rankings don't particularly matter? What does being a champion even mean? Because we've long gone past the days of John Jones, Demetrius Johnson, Amanda Nunes, even now, where you see the look at the light heavyweight division and you got a million different people touching that belt. You remember we talked about this, where like after John Jones, like it's going to be hot potato with this belt, and it literally has been. So who's going to be the next person who's like, no, I am legitimately, from a merit-based perspective, I'm the man, and there's nothing that y'all can do.
Yeah, that's good. That's going to be an interesting question, Derek, because I do think in 5 years down the road, the UFC landscape is going to be changed drastically. We're going to see a lot of new innovations, a lot of new characters that are coming out, and a lot more draw to the sport that we love, that us degenerates have loved since, you know, since we were scrapping in middle school in the streets like that. That is the people that have loved the sport from then. But I think there's going to be a wider base coming to it, a wider appeal coming to it here in the near future. And what appeals to those people, I think, are going to be very interesting to find out how it all mashes together.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. Long gone are the days of watching on Spike TV, you know what I mean, for the niche men's audience. And now it's opened up, and now this is a mainstream thing. So maybe we're feeling the growing pains. Maybe that's it. But, you know, you got to be open to change. But that's been enough yapping. I think that was a fantastic way to get to end this thing. All right, folks, that's it for us. Catch us next time, and happy hunting. Until next time, peace.